Hello everybody. You'll have to pardon my voice here. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. Today's project though is to take my Allen Edmonds McAllisters. I bought these in September of 2017, making them almost 2.5 years old. And the project for today is the original heels now. I wear these about once a week, so let's call it probably 125 wears. The heels are about to wear into the heel base. I'm going to replace the heels, and I'm going to create my own, which I've done before, leather rubber combo heels. And then I'm also going to replace, some people call these a Topi. I think Topi is a brand, protective, Goodyear protective rubber half soles is what I've put on them. I'm going to replace these. As you can see, it's starting to wear through right there in the corner. And I actually bought some sheet rubber that I'm going to replace those with, okay? All right, so let's go. Hello everybody, it's Robert Powers. 4.5 out of 5.
My shoe collection.
These are made of shell cordovan. Can you tell the difference? Now here they are finished up.
I'm not a professional. Look how tight this is though.
Very clearly here, I just cut the thread in half. Look at that, see? And here they are, all finished up. Okay, so as I said in the introduction, the goal is to replace the rubber protective half soles and to replace the heel. Technically, this is called the top lift. And I've said this before in any video I talk about Allen Edmonds, but you can probably tell fairly well here. I'm trying to get a good shot. And what you're going to see is the top lift that we're going to replace is this part right here. Now, do you see this layer right there? There is a layer of rubber on top of the leather stacked heel base. So this layer of rubber is nailed. In other words, what I'm trying to point out is you want to catch these things before you hit that layer of rubber, because that layer of that second layer of rubber there is part of the heel base. Okay, so but a perfect point to do that. What I've used in the past, originally, what I have on here is this Goodyear Neolite, and it's very, very functional. These shoes now have lasted. I'm trying to make sure I'm accurate. I don't think I've ever replaced these. Yeah, I've never replaced these. So these things actually lasted over 2 years, about 2 years and 5 months of even walking outdoors. You know, I probably wear these about once a week. So these things are extremely durable. They're fairly thick though, and they're not very pretty. Like I said, they're functional, but just not very pretty. So what I started to use was things like this. Now you can see they're thinner, okay? They're about half the thickness. These are advertised as 4 iron or 2.5 millimeters. So what is an iron? Iron is an old measure of thickness that is 1/48 of an inch, 1/48 of an inch. So 4 iron would be 4/48 or 1/12 of an inch, which actually would convert over into inches a little bit less than 2.5 millimeters. So I think, you know, anyway, somewhere between 2 to 2.5 millimeters. Where these are advertised as like 1 millimeter thick, which is like 40 thousandths of an inch. And so when I purchased the brand here, I had to tear the label to get it out of the package. But the brand, they're made in China. This sheet is made in China. What is it? Kaneji? That sounds like a Japanese name. Rubber sheet for outsoles, it actually says. Rubber sheet for outsole, there's the label, okay? I'm trying to get you anything that you might need, but it does say made in China, and it is also advertised as 1 millimeter. You can see there, and there's the logo if you can see it. So I think this would be just fine, and I get a whole nice big sheet of it. I think it was like $20-some, $24 or something like that. I should be able to do a lot of soles for that. So. And by the way, I have showed you in my last video, I'll link it below. I have had some of my friends, a couple of my friends have had problems with these peeling. I haven't. I may have retouched and I've had them peel just, you know, like a little bit on the edge or something like that, usually right back here, but nothing severe. So these have stayed in place pretty well. And by the way, when I put these on, these shoes, I think had 1 day of wear on them. And I don't remember, I might have lightly sanded the soles before I put them on. I don't remember, to be honest with you. So, they're stuck pretty good. And you can see looks like it's bringing up some of the leather, you know. It's stayed adhered pretty well. Wow, look at that. And yeah, they're pretty thin. I don't know if you can tell. You can see my finger there. Yeah, that's pretty doggone thin. It actually looks like there's a hole there about to form. So it's the perfect time to change them. And it looks like here, I don't think I actually sanded these. I think what it really did was it just took that shiny layer off. You know, when I peeled that rubber off, it just kind of removed the shiny layer of rubber with it. So I'll probably just have to sand these down ever so slightly. There we go. Now to remove the heel top lift, and remember there's that layer of rubber, so we have to go above that. Some of these are harder to take off than others. These seem to be coming off relatively easily. And factory rubber heels like this on the what should I say, the non-shell cordovan line are just adhered on. They're just glued on, they're not nailed. See how thin it's getting there? You see what I mean about the rubber? See, that's nailed on there. So I forgot to tell you guys, the reason I'm not using these things for this pair of shoes is the ones that I've purchased, my feet are 11.5 triple E. They're just a little bit too small. No matter how you position them, where you put them, can't get it to cover everything. So these are just a little bit too small, so beware. On right now is how to treat this area here. I like to keep the logo visible. As you can see, the way it was before, that straight line kind of cut off the end of the logo, and now there is a little bit of an indent there. Let's show you the way I did it on a pair of Kilgore French and Stanbury shoes. This was, I think, kind of nice. I didn't cut it into the sole. And the last pair of Allen Edmonds I purchased, I did cut it in like this. I think this looks really nice, so I'm kind of debating on how I'm going to treat this one. Now for the heels, what I have is this just simple little template, right? Because when you walk more on the outside of the heels. So it's just the angle I picked, and you see there? So this is going to be the template for this part will be leather. And the leather that I'm using is 5mm thick. I believe this is soling leather that I got from Land Whirlin Leather. In the description below the video, I'll give you a link to their phone number and stuff like that. Land Whirlin Leather in Indianapolis. It was very, very difficult to find a supplier, that would sell to the public. And you can buy heels already done. The reason I don't use those is A, they were very expensive, but B, the more important reason I didn't use them is because they were the wrong thickness. They were just too thick. 5mm is, I think, ideal for Allen Edmonds. 1/4 inch is like 6¼ It's just too thick. And, this rubber is a little softer than I'd like it to be, but because I'm replacing these at home, what I can do is when this part wears out, I can replace just this piece. So this is what I cut the rest of the rubber part of the heel from. Mix of alcohol and water I keep handy. That's easier. these are tin snips, right? Probably not the exact right tool, but that works for home use. You can see the difference. The jaw is on the right, the jaw is on the left. So there's a right-handed and left-handed. I think one's for making a curve one way, curve the other way. My left-handed one is sharper. Maybe not. Here we go, huh? Now I've got the healing rubber here. You can see there's a pattern on it, right? It kind of goes 45-degree angles. So starting off here where I cut it straight, I want the pattern to be even. And I've got my other little template here. Trace it out on there, I'll cut it out. Okay, so here's where we're at. Voice, I'm still trying to get over this cold, so apologize if my voice sounds off. So here are the two pieces, and the big key with this is the mating surface needs to be perfectly square, flat, smooth. And so I'm gonna take them out to the garage on the belt sander, and I'll show you how I do that at home and get a pretty decent joint on them. Okay, got some safety equipment on. Take this little tool here, it's got a cool little bit on it. Watch this. And stay on camera. Isn't that cool? I think the one thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to grind this heel breast to match. I'm going to go back out to the garage and do that. I'm not going to tape that, I'll just do that and come back and show you. Okay, they're not perfectly matched. I'll grind them down a little bit more later. I'll show you how I do that. But then I also measured with a tape measure here to see how long the rubber piece is going to be. And I'm getting basically, once this is in the proper place, about 1 1/4 inches. So in other words, I don't want one of these, I wouldn't want one of these, you know, real big and one real small like that. So they look like they're just about even. So now it's time to glue them on. And what I'm using here is, this is actually what a lot of the professionals use. I was able to acquire it from eBay. It's $38 a quart though. It's not cheap. Masters All-Purpose Cement Quick Drying by Petrosino. No, sorry. I can't read. Petronio. Case, you got to make sure you get the edge, the flat edge. And here we go. Where I position this is going to be critical. If I put it too far over here, I'm gonna have too much rubber, okay? And I need to not expose at the bottom, you know, not have any of the heel showing. So I'm trying to kind of control everything. And I'm putting my fingers on here to feel where I'm putting it down too. That's pretty good placement. So here they are as they came off the belt sander. I am pretty pleased. I got to trim some of that, you know, this stuff flashing off there. It's not perfect. I can touch that up a little bit still. I can still touch that up a little bit. Basically all I did was trying to get the edge of this leather even with the edge of the heel. And then in trying to blend it in, like, can you see right there? This one needs work. I don't know if you can tell, but this edge right here is a little high. It's because when I hit it on the belt sander, I had masking tape. Actually, the thickness of the masking tape does make a little bit of a difference. So I'm just trying to get that all nice and flush, flat, even. The leather kind of mushrooms over a little bit. So then I just had an idea, and I'd been thinking about this for a long time. This other one, this to me is done. And it was sanded. I used some rougher sandpaper. I think it was like 80 grit, and then I went down to like a 180. Then what is this stuff here? I think this is this last one I used is like a 180, and then I think I used like a 240. But they're worn out, so they're probably a little bit smoother than a fresh piece of sandpaper. But anyway, I went ahead and used acetone and then sanded and stripped the rest of the edge of the sole. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye this, instead of black, I'm going to dye it mahogany. I have no idea how it's going to look, but it's something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. So you see the surface finish here? I mean, it's okay. You know what, if you really look at it, it's got nicks in it from wearing, and the surface smoothness of it, it's really not the smoothest. So I'm trying to get that nice and smooth. You know, can you see like in here? And it's a little bit bumpy, and they just got nicks on it, and so I'm really trying to smooth that down, and you know, I think I'm going to re-dye the edges of the entire side of the sole. See those lines that up here? What that is they have whatever the machine is they use to finish the edge of the heel there spins, and you're seeing tool marks because it's not 100% flat. So interesting, huh? I'm gonna keep stripping it. So I think this is about all I can get off and all I need to get off, just with the acetone. So I've not sanded the sole edge here. I've not sanded this yet. Remember, this is not a how-to. I really don't know how to do this. So you're getting secondhand information. So don't follow what I do. Just, you know, you can watch what I do, see what kind of results I get, but I wouldn't do this based on me. You know, in other words, watch what the professional cobblers do, watch what the professional shoemakers do, although there's not a lot of information out there. But this is a wooden burnishing tool, okay? And what this does is it kind of compacts down the surface of the leather. So like right along here, look at that surface texture. Okay, now it does take a bit of force. Try and get it in the light. I don't know if you can tell. Can you see that it's like shiny now versus over here? You see? It compacts down the leather. I'm trying to do it on a spot with no shoe polish. Alright. And I am pretty much pressing about as hard as I'm physically able to. This thing kind of pushes into your thumb and it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm also watching the angle. That's probably one of the more critical things. You can feel it in the fresh areas. It drags heavily. And then when it starts to get burnished, it glides. Can you see the difference between the burnished one on top, the one that has not been burnished on the bottom? Okay, I actually used the round end here and went over the actual heel base itself, and it shined it up. There's nothing on here. There's no wax at all on here. Look how shiny that is. Isn't that awesome? So I think the dye is next. Because everything on the shoe is either basically this you know, mahogany, whatever you call it, mahogany, oxblood. The shoe was originally oxblood from Allen Edmonds. I dyed them a little bit darker. So this mahogany color here, this rich burgundy color, the stitching is black. I mean, this was black, but it was too plain. I don't want to go brown because then I feel like I'm going to have a 3-color shoe. So I think I'm going to go with the dark mahogany. What I'm doing now is, if you can see, I drew a little line from the edge there. We got just this thing. This isn't really the right tool, but I'm just creating little indents, if you can see, to make the nail heads evenly spaced. Next, I need to punch little holes. Some kind of depth gauge here. You probably definitely don't need to do that. Here's what I got for nails. These are actually called Eustachian pins. These are pretty hard to find. I think I got these at Ace Hardware. Most hardware stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, didn't have actual brass nails. I found brass coated before, which I've used in the past. And this does say brass, so I don't know for 100% sure that they actually are brass all the way through. But I think the reason the professional shoemakers use brass is everything I've heard is that brass nails, supposedly, because they're softer than steel, will wear at the same rate as leather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one. Be careful because this thing's going to fly, but I'm going to cut it in half. Ooh, that was soft. I think these are brass. That was really easy to cut. Yeah, that's brass all the way through. That's what I wanted. Here's another tool I created. It's just an ordinary punch, okay? And then I took a Dremel tool, if you can tell, and I created a concave in the head to sit on nail heads. Because if you can, I don't know if you can tell, but these are still sticking up above the surface. And if you just pound too much with a hammer, you create indents in the leather. So this is just something I came up with. I'm finding that I just can't get enough force. I can't get enough force on the shoe. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Cobbler's stand here. I found this thing on Let Go. You know, a local app where people sell things locally, like a Facebook marketplace. I got it for 20 bucks. It was rusty. I cleaned it up. That's pretty good. All right, off camera, I give them all 2-3 more whacks. Now I'm happy with them. Now they feel like they're flush or under the surface. Okay, so here they are. That actually took a little bit of strength, and plus I have a cold. So anyway, I'm happy with that. Now, can you see this shoe here? I took acetone and stripped all the finish off of the sole, see? And I actually scraped it down a little bit. There's a little bit of a bump there from the old, you know, half sole, so I tried to kind of like get that edge off of there as well. So this is kind of like the before. That's like an after, so I'm going to do that with this sole as well. Okay, now I've laid out on here the sole, retrace that line. Now I'm going to cut it. What I'm going to do is create a little indentation for that leather to sit down in flush. This part is not easy. This part does take skill, and you can injure yourself really badly with these. And I already did once. Where was it? Oh yeah, I stabbed myself, I don't know if you can tell, in the wrist right there with this actual knife. That's 3 stitches in the emergency room. I was really lucky. That could have damaged a tendon, could have hit some major, you know, arteries in there. I'm ready to put them on. I actually just wiped down the soles and the backs of these with acetone. I think that's the wrong one. There we go. And I'm going to glue them down. And again, using the same Petrosino Master all-purpose cement. It's dry. One shot of this. I guess it's staying there. See what I mean? That wasn't ideal, but I can work with it. Looks carpet nice. Wow, look how close there that got. See how hard that is to do? I almost went off the edge of the sole there. Almost perfect. That's pretty doggone good, but nice. I think it's just the glue I'm getting off of there. The extra glue. Guy on YouTube that I do follow, Andrew Wrigley, and he makes shoes at homes, like handmade shoes at homes. I don't think he's at the level of a bespoke shoemaker, a true bespoke shoemaker, but he's pretty doggone good. But the reason I like him is he actually explains the whole process. The video production quality is fairly mediocre to some of them are poor, you know, like there's no editing at all in his videos. But he does explain every step of the process. And one of the things he says you're supposed to do to slick the edges of leather is use something called gum tragacanth. I'll cut in a picture of it here. You can get it from Amazon. I probably should have bought it, tried it out, but I just can't bring myself to, I didn't buy it and I can't bring myself to wait 4 days to finish this. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I've done in the past. I'm using neutral shoe polish. In this case, I'm using the Sapphire Mirror Gloss. I'm just going to apply it with my hands. And, you know, so just really load up your finger with it if you can. See how that goes on there? You want to fill all the little nooks and crannies and surface texturing. This is where you'll find out if you did a decent job on finishing and sanding or not. And I'm even putting it on the edge of the rubber. I just figured out what I was doing. My towel was full of leather and I was getting leather and dirt back onto the shoe. See, even though I felt like I spent a lot of time getting that edge cleaned, you see the edge of the welt really is not smooth. So this is why I say I need to work on my edge finishing skills, and maybe that gum tragacanth would help seal that over. Or maybe I've seen the professional shoemakers, they use broken glass to shape the edge of the leather. Obviously there's a reason they do that, you know. I'm learning. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just experimenting and learning. I think there's some glue there on the edge of the... Okay, let's see. There's a moment of truth. Ooh. Yeah. Look at that. Not bad, huh? It's not real obvious, and I knew it wouldn't be. But now you can see some grain. That's exactly what I wanted. Finishing is decent. Definitely not professional level finishing. You see that? But it's alright. You like the way that looks? I do. Lastly, I'm going to dye the bottom of the sole here and the heel. They're slightly different color, and that is going to make a difference. I'm hoping they come out pretty close. But you saw me earlier strip the color off, the original color off of the sole. And I'm using the Phoebing's Tan. All right, let's see what happens here. Dry. And my 6 favorite words in my videos, and here they are, all finished up. I'm going to take these outside, I'll show you too. Get a little more light on them, but that's not too shabby, is it? The sole edge? The heel, I should say. It's not a huge difference. And something weird happened here on the sole. That coloring, I don't know. And it's on the bottom of the sole, so I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm not going to keep fighting it. But that's where that line was, you know, and then I kind of sanded that area to try to get rid of that line, the raised area. I did burnish that leather back down, but oh well. Like I said, it's the bottom of the sole. That heel came out pretty doggone good, didn't it? I think this is the best one I've done yet. And you see there, edge finishing is not perfect, but it's pretty doggone good by my books. I mean, right now I'm literally 3.5 inches away from the camera lens. Managed to not get any tool marks in the leather, which is nice. Here's the other one. You see there? Some little gouges there I kind of screwed up and nicked the leather, but I could sand it out if I really got ambitious, but it's a down at the heel. It's good enough for me. Must have drugged it across something. It already has a scratch on it, but like I said, I'm about to walk on it, so. And you see how I try and get that pattern parallel with this line? Can you tell? And that seam is nice. Isn't that awesome? Kind of lost the DS on the Edmonds, but that's okay. If I was really ambitious, I could take like an ink pen or something and make an indentation again, but like I said, it's good enough. Nice and flush across there. I like that. I'm very pleased. And let me show you a couple other examples of 3 other pairs of shoes I've done heels on. These I've walked on, I don't know, I've probably worn these 3-4 times since doing the heels. And you see they hold up all right. Maybe 5, I don't know how many times I've worn them. 3, 4, 5, 6 times. You can see the corner there rounding off. But I didn't cut this one as steep of an angle. In other words, there's more rubber on this one, but see, it holds up pretty well. Oh, by the way, these are the $1 Florsheim double monk strap shoes. They're okay. They're very long shoe with a long toe cap. They're not my favorite shoes, but they were a buck. I've probably got 20 bucks in them. These are my Park Avenues, and these I did these a while ago. You can see they're, you know, quite worn, holding it pretty well. Right. And my Shreveports. I recently redid the rubber part on this, and it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect there. What I did figure out, I guess, is I guess I am wearing the leather. If you see how much thinner the leather is than the rubber, so I guess I could have replaced the leather and rubber, but you know, like I said, I'm gonna wear these shoes and wear them outside proudly. So this, in other words, maybe I didn't clarify. I replaced the rubber on here. I did not replace the leather. So there we go. A few examples. Now here's why I wanted to bring them outside. Can you see here? When you're outside, instead of just being black, and you're really in some strong light, doesn't that look nice? You can see the texture, the leather, you can see the grain in it. You know, I just think it looks really beautiful. It's not gonna jump out at you, but I think that subtle color there, you know, lets you know it's a natural material. There's some variation in it. That's really what I was after. You can see this, the layering in it. I just like that. These are, I think, my favorite pair of shoes right now. Okay, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Subscribe if you'd like. Check out my other videos, and I will catch you guys later. God bless. Thank you for watching.